The morning sun on Kepler 442b cast long shadows through the crystal caves as Commander Jake Morrison checked his weapon for the 10th time. His hands were steady, but sweat dripped down his face inside his helmet. After 3 days of hunting, they were finally close to their target. "Movement detected 200 meters ahead," whispered Elena Rodriguez through the cum. The human scientist was part of the tracking team, her scanners picking up the heat signature they had been following for days. Jake nodded and signaled to his mixed team of coalition forces. The aliens around him looked just as tense, to his left stood Vexhai, a tall Zenthari with pale blue skin and large black eyes. The psychic alien could read most minds, but this creature had proven different. On Jake's right was Ziktar, a Corven whose metal body parts gleamed in the dim light. His people could control any beast with their technology. Behind them, the massive Thrakari warrior Groanth gripped his energy weapons, ready for battle. "Remember," Jake said quietly into his cum, "we need it alive. The Coalition wants to study this thing, not turn it into space dust." The Vorthek. Warbeast had killed thousands of people across 3 star systems. It was smart, deadly, and seemed to enjoy destroying everything humans and aliens had built. This particular beast had torn apart the mining colony on Zarian Prime, leaving no survivors. Then it had attacked the research station on Luna 7, killing 300 scientists. Most recently, it had somehow disabled an entire fleet of warships near the Centauri Gate. The creature was 15 feet, tall and covered in natural armor that could stop most weapons. Its 6 eyes could see in all directions at once. Worst of all, it was intelligent. It planned its attacks, learned from each battle, and seemed to take pleasure in causing fear. "There," Elena pointed through a gap in the crystal formations. "I can see it." Jake looked where she was pointing and felt his stomach drop. The Worthak was even bigger than the reports had said. Its black armor plates shifted as it moved, and strange blue patterns glowed along its sides. The creature was drinking from a small underground stream, but all 6 of its eyes were moving, watching for danger. "How do we trap something that smart?" asked Lisa Chun, the team's tactical officer. She had spent weeks studying the creature's behavior, trying to find a weakness. "The quantum nets," Jake replied. "We surround it, then activate the containment field. It can't break free if we do it fast enough." Ziktar made a clicking sound with his mechanical voice box. "My people have contained creatures twice this size. The neural disruptors will keep it calm once we have it trapped." Groanth growled low in his throat. "Thrakari warriors do not need machines to control beasts. I will show it who is dominant." "We stick to the plan," Jake said firmly. "Nobody tries to be a hero. This thing has killed too many people already." The team moved carefully through the crystal caves. The formations created a natural maze, perfect for their trap. Elena had spent hours calculating the best position for the quantum nets. If they could corner the creature in the right spot, it would have nowhere to run. Jake watched the Warbeast through his scope. It had stopped drinking and was now looking around. Its 6 eyes moved independently, scanning the cave walls. For a moment, Jake thought it was looking right at him. "It knows we're here," Elena whispered. The creature's glowing patterns changed from blue to red. It made a sound that was part roar, part shriek. The noise echoed through the caves, making Jake's ears ring even through his helmet. "Now!" Jake shouted. The team moved fast. Lisa activated the quantum projectors hidden around the cave. Streams of energy shot out, creating a cage of light around the Warbeast. The creature spun around, trying to find an escape route, but the nets closed in from all sides. For a moment, Jake thought they had won. The Warbeast was trapped inside the glowing cage, and the quantum field was holding strong. But then the creature did something unexpected. It stopped thrashing and stood perfectly still. "Why isn't it fighting?" Elena asked. The Warbeast 6 eyes focused on each member of the team in turn. When its gaze fell on Jake, he felt like the creature was looking into his soul. There was intelligence there, cold and calculating. This was not just an animal. This was something that could think, plan, and hate. "Containment field is stable," Lisa reported. Power levels are holding steady. Good, Jake said. Let's get it back to the ship. Loading the creature onto their transport ship took 4 hours. The Warbeast never stopped watching them. It didn't fight the quantum nets, but it studied every piece of equipment, every weapon, every face. Jake had the uncomfortable feeling that it was learning, planning for later. Transport to New Horizon, we have the package, Jake reported to the Coalition research vessel waiting in orbit. Copy that, Morrison. Medical teams are standing by. As their ship lifted off from Kepler 442b, Jake looked back at their prisoner. The Warbeast sat quietly in its containment field, but its red glowing patterns pulsed steadily. It looked like a heartbeat, or maybe a countdown. Jake, Elena said quietly, look at its brain scans. Jake studied the readings on her scanner. What am I looking at? Neural activity is off the charts. It's not just conscious, it's thinking constantly. Processing information, making connections. This thing is as smart as we are, maybe smarter. The transport ship docked with the New Horizon 6 hours later. As they transferred the contained Warbeast to the research labs, Jake noticed something that bothered him. The creature had stopped looking around at the ship's technology. Instead, all 6 eyes were focused on the humans in the group. It was studying them specifically, ignoring the aliens completely. Why is it only watching us? Jake asked Elena. I don't know, she replied. But I have a feeling we're about to find out. The containment field hummed as they placed the Warbeast in the research lab's main chamber. The creature settled into the center of the energy cage and continued its silent watching. Its glowing patterns had changed again, now showing complex spirals of blue and purple light. Welcome aboard, you ugly monster, muttered Alex Parker, the ship's chief engineer. Let's see how long you stay quiet. The Warbeast's patterns flashed bright red for just a moment, as if it had understood the insult. Then it returned to its calm watching, 6 eyes taking in everything around it. Jake had a bad feeling about what was coming next. The research lab aboard the New Horizon buzzed with activity. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a wall of monitors, watching data streams flow across the screens. The Warbeast had been in containment for 18 hours, and every expert in the galaxy wanted their chance to study it. Vital signs are still strong, Elena reported to the assembled team. Heart rate, brain activity, everything looks normal for its species. Whatever normal means for something like this. Captain Lisa Chun walked into the lab, followed by the alien specialists who had volunteered to help control the creature. Each one claimed their people had the best methods for dealing with dangerous beasts. Who goes first? Lisa asked. Vexhai stepped forward. The tall Zenthari's black eyes reflected the light from the containment field. My people have controlled minds. For 10,000 years. This creature will submit to Zenthari will. Jake Morrison watched from the observation deck above. Something about this whole situation bothered him. The Warbeast hadn't tried to escape even once since arriving on the ship. It just sat there, watching everyone with those 6 eyes. Be careful down there, Jake said into his cum. That thing is planning something. Vexhai entered the containment chamber through an airlock. The Zenthari moved slowly, his long fingers spread wide. Blue energy began to glow around his hands as he prepared to make mental contact with the beast. Establishing psychic link. Vexhai announced. His voice was calm and confident. I can sense its thoughts forming, anger, yes, but also intelligence. More intelligence than expected. The Warbeast remained perfectly still. Its glowing patterns shifted from blue to green, then to yellow. Elena had never seen those colors before. Deeper contact now, Vexhai said. His voice sounded strained. The mind is ... complex, layered. There are thoughts within thoughts, plans within plans. Suddenly Vexhai screamed. The sound was terrible, like metal tearing apart. The Zenthari was thrown backward across the chamber, hitting the wall hard. Blue energy crackled around his body as he slid to the floor, unconscious. Medical team to Lab 3, Lisa shouted. Get him out of there. The Warbeast had not moved during the entire encounter. It sat in the same position, but now its patterns were bright red and pulsing fast. What happened? Elena asked as the medical team carried Vexhai away. His mind was overloaded, reported Dr. Sarah Kim, the ship's doctor. Every psychic defense he had was shattered. It will take weeks for him to recover, if he recovers at all. Ziktar stepped forward next. The Korvan's metal body parts whirred and clicked as he prepared his equipment. Zenthari relied too much on mind tricks. Korvan technology is superior. We will use bioneural interfaces and pheromone control. The mechanical alien entered the chamber carrying a strange device that looked like a metal spider. Wires and sensors extended from its body, reaching toward the Warbeast. Beginning bioscan. Ziktar announced. The device will map its nervous system, then establish control through direct neural contact. The spider device crawled closer to the Warbeast. When it was 3 feet away, something incredible happened. Sparks shot out of the machine and all. Its lights went dead. The device fell over, completely ruined. What? Ziktar's mechanical voice sounded confused. This is impossible. The neural interface has worked on over 3,000 species. He tried a second device, then a third. Each one died the moment it got close to the creature. The Warbeast never moved, never touched the machines. They just stopped working. The creature is generating some kind of electromagnetic field, Elena observed. It's shorting out the electronics on purpose. Ziktar tried 4 more devices. All of them failed. Finally, he gave up and left the chamber, his clicking sounds now angry and frustrated. My turn, growled Groenth. The massive Furkari warrior stood 8 feet tall and was covered in thick muscle. His people believed that strength and dominance were the only languages all creatures understood. Are you sure about this? Lisa asked. That thing just defeated our best psychic and our best technology. Thrakari do not fear beasts, Groenth replied. I have broken creatures twice this size. This one will learn to obey. The warrior entered the chamber carrying a neural whip and a dominance amplifier. The whip would cause pain without permanent damage, while the amplifier would make Groenth seem larger and more threatening. You will submit. Groenth roared at the Warbeast. He activated the amplifier, and his voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. The Warbeast looked up at him with all 6 eyes. For the first time since its capture, it moved. The creature stood up slowly, rising to its full 15-foot height. Its armor plates shifted and clicked as it faced the Thrakari warrior. That's right, Groenth said. You know I am dominant. You will bow down. Instead of bowing, the Warbeast made a sound that might have been laughter. A low, rumbling noise. That made everyone in the observation deck nervous. I don't think it's impressed, Jake muttered. Grow single quotes. Neth cracked his neural whip. The energy weapon sparked in the air, designed to cause fear in any creature. The Warbeast watched the display with what looked like boredom. Submit! Groenth shouted. Again, he raised the whip to strike. The Warbeast moved faster than anything that large should be able to move. One moment it was standing still, the next moment Groenth was flying through the air. The warrior hit the containment field wall and slid down, completely unconscious. How did it do that? Elena asked. The containment field should have stopped it from moving that fast. Alex Parker, the chief engineer, checked his instruments. The field is still active. The creature didn't break through it. It moved within the space it had and somehow generated enough force to throw an 8-foot warrior across the room. Medical teams rushed to help Groenth. The proud Thrakari warrior was breathing, but showed no signs of waking up soon. 3-4. 3, Jake said grimly. This thing just defeated the galaxy's best mind reader, the best beast tamer, and the strongest warrior. What's next? Dr. Elena Rodriguez studied the data from all 3 attempts. The readings were confusing and frightening. Whatever this creature is, it's not just intelligent. It understands our technology, our psychology, and our biology better than we understand it. The Warbeast sat back down in the center of its containment field. Its glowing patterns had returned to the calm blue color, but now Elena knew that meant nothing. The creature was always thinking, always planning. We need to try a different approach, she said. Like what? Lisa asked. I don't know yet, Elena admitted. But clearly, force and control aren't working. Maybe we need to think about this differently. The Warbeast's 6 eyes seemed to focus on Elena as she spoke. For just a moment, she had the strange feeling that it was listening to every word she said, and worse, that it understood exactly what she meant. The emergency meeting room on the New Horizon was packed with angry voices. Captain Lisa Chun sat at the head of the table, trying to keep order as representatives from 6 different species argued about what to do with the Warbeast. "This creature is too dangerous to keep alive," declared Ambassador Kethver, representing the Corvan Empire. His metal face showed no emotion, but his voice was filled with anger. "It has humiliated our best specialists. We demand immediate termination." "The Xanthari Council agrees," added diplomat Yexjin, speaking for his injured colleague Vexhai. "This beast attacked a Xanthari mind reader. Such acts cannot go unpunished." Jake Morrison stood near the back of the room, watching the chaos unfold. 6 days had passed since they captured the Warbeast, and every day brought new problems. The creature had not attempted to escape, but its presence on the ship was causing fear among the crew. "We cannot simply destroy it," Dr. Elena Rodriguez argued from her seat. "This is the first live Warbeast we have ever captured. The scientific value is enormous. We could learn how to defend against its kind." "What scientific value?" Ambassador Kethver's voice rose higher. "Your experts have learned nothing except that the creature is impossible to control. Meanwhile, it sits in our ship like a bomb waiting to explode." Chief Engineer Alex Parker raised his hand. "I have to report some concerning developments about the containment system. The creature seems to be testing our defenses." The room went quiet. Lisa leaned forward. "What do you mean, testing?" "Every few hours it does something different," Alex explained. "Sometimes it touches the containment field walls. Sometimes it makes specific sounds. Yesterday it sat in different positions around the chamber. Each time it seems to be studying how our systems respond." "You think it's looking for weaknesses?" Jake asked. "I think it's mapping our entire security system," Alex replied. "The power fluctuations we've been seeing aren't random. They follow patterns, like it's running experiments." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "How intelligent do you think this creature really is?" "Smart enough to defeat 3 specialists without breaking a sweat," Alex said grimly. "And smart enough to learn our technology just by watching it work." The argument erupted again. The Thrakari representative, standing in for the unconscious Groenth, demanded the creature be released so his people could hunt it properly. The Xanthari wanted it destroyed immediately. The Corvan suggested using it as a weapon against other enemies. "Enough!" Lisa shouted, bringing her hand down hard on the table. "We are not barbarians. We will not torture this creature or use it as a weapon." "Then what do you suggest?" asked Ambassador Kethver. Lisa looked around the room at the frustrated faces. "We continue studying it, carefully, with better security measures." "And if it escapes?" The Thrakari representative growled. "It won't," Lisa said, though she didn't sound completely convinced. Meanwhile, in the ship's civilian quarters, other conversations were taking place. The families of crew members had been told about the capture, but not about the failed control attempts. Parents were starting to ask questions about the extra security measures and the restricted areas. "Why can't we visit Daddy's lab anymore?" 8-year-old Katie Morrison asked her mother, Nancy. "There's dangerous work happening right now, sweetheart," Nancy replied, trying to keep her voice calm. "Your father is very busy with an important project." Katie had been exploring the ship since they arrived 3 weeks ago. Her father's job required long trips through space, and Katie had learned to entertain herself by making friends with the crew and learning about how starships worked. She was curious about everything and afraid of nothing. "Can I see the project?" Katie asked. "Not this time, honey." "Maybe when Daddy is finished," but Katie was already planning. She had discovered many interesting places on the ship that adults didn't know about. Small maintenance tunnels, cargo areas, and observation decks that were supposed to be off limits. If there was something exciting happening, she wanted to see it. Back in the meeting room, the arguments continued. Dr. Elena Rodriguez tried to present her research findings, But the politicians weren't interested in science. They wanted solutions. The creature's behavior patterns show remarkable intelligence, Elena said. It doesn't act like a mindless predator. Every action is calculated, purposeful. If we could establish communication. Communication? Ambassador Kethfer laughed, a sound like grinding metal. You want to talk to the beast that killed thousands of our people? Maybe those deaths happened because we never tried to understand it, Elena replied. What if the attacks weren't random violence? What if there was a reason? The reason is that it's a monster, the Thrakari representative said. Monsters exist to be destroyed. Jake Morrison had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now he spoke up. Elena might be right. In all the attack reports, the creature showed tactical thinking. It targeted specific buildings, avoided certain areas. That suggests it was looking for something. Looking for what? Lisa asked. I don't know, Jake admitted. But animals that hunt for food don't destroy research stations and mining colonies. They hunt prey. This thing was doing something else. The meeting continued for 2 more hours without reaching any conclusions. The coalition representatives would report back to their governments, but everyone knew the political pressure was building. 3 member species had already threatened to leave the alliance if the Warbeast wasn't destroyed soon. As the meeting ended, Elena lingered in the research lab. She stood before the observation window, watching the creature in its containment field. The Warbeast sat motionless, but she knew it was aware of her presence. All 6 eyes occasionally turned toward the window. What are you really? She whispered. The creature's glowing patterns shifted slightly, changing from blue to a soft purple color she had never seen before. For a moment, Elena thought she saw something in its posture that looked almost sad. Alex Parker joined her at the window. Power systems are holding steady, he reported. But I've been thinking about what you said in the meeting. About communication. And? What if we're going about this all wrong? Every specialist who tried to control it used force or dominance or technology. What if those are exactly the wrong approaches? Elena nodded slowly. You mean, what if we need to try cooperation instead of control? It's just a thought, Alex said. But this creature has been nothing but defensive since we captured it. It hasn't tried to escape, hasn't tried to hurt anyone who didn't attack it first. Maybe it's not the monster we think it is. The Warbeast's patterns shifted again, this time to a warm gold color. Elena had the strangest feeling that it was listening to their conversation, and even stranger that it approved of what they were saying. Tomorrow, she decided, we try something completely different. Katie Morrison woke up early on the 7th day. Her mother was still sleeping, and the civilian quarters were quiet. This was the perfect time for exploring. She had heard the grown-ups talking in worried voices about something important happening on the ship, and Katie wanted to know what it was. She put on her favorite pink shoes and quietly opened the door to their room. The hallway was empty except for the soft blue lights that always stayed on. Katie had memorized the ship's layout during their 3 weeks aboard. She knew which corridors led where, and more importantly, she knew which ones the adults didn't. Watch very carefully. The maintenance tunnels were her favorite discovery. They were small passages that ran between the main decks, used by repair crews to fix pipes and wires. Katie was small enough to crawl through them easily. Better yet, they had viewing ports that let her see into restricted areas. 20 minutes. Later, Katie emerged from a tunnel opening near the research deck. She had never been allowed in this section before. But today she was determined to find out what all the fuss was about. The research deck was busier than usual. Scientists and security guards walked back and forth, all looking very serious. Katie hid behind a supply cabinet and watched them work. Everyone seemed nervous about something. Dr. Elena Rodriguez walked past, carrying a tablet and frowning. She was one of the nice adults who sometimes talked to Katie about science stuff. Behind her, Alex Parker was pushing a cart full of strange equipment. The neural pattern analysis is still inconclusive, Elena was saying to Alex. But I think you're right about trying a different approach. What kind of approach? Alex asked. Non-threatening contact. No weapons, no control devices. Just observation and patience. Katie didn't understand all the big words, but she could tell they were talking about something important. She decided to follow them and see where they were going. The two adults entered a large room, with thick walls and lots of warning signs on the door. Katie waited until they were inside, then snuck closer. Through a small window, she could see them looking at screens and checking equipment, but what really caught Katie's attention was the viewing window on the far side of the room. Through the transparent wall, she could see into another chamber. And in that chamber was the most amazing creature she had ever seen. The Warbeast was enormous. Much bigger than any animal Katie had seen at the zoo back on Earth. It had dark, shiny skin that looked like armor and strange patterns of light that glowed along its sides. Most incredible of all were its 6 eyes, which seemed to look in all directions at once. Katie pressed her face against the viewing window, fascinated. The creature was sitting very still, but she could tell it was thinking about something. Its eyes moved constantly, and the glowing patterns on its body shifted from blue to green to purple. "You're beautiful," Katie whispered to herself. At that exact moment, all 6 of the creature's eyes turned toward her. Katie gasped in surprise. Could it hear her through the thick glass, or maybe it had felt her watching? The Warbeast stood up slowly and walked closer to the viewing window. As it approached, Katie noticed that its glowing patterns had changed to a soft yellow color. The creature stopped just a few feet away from the glass and looked directly at her. Katie wasn't scared. Her parents had taught her to be careful around strange animals, but this one didn't seem dangerous. It seemed curious, just like she was. She put her small hand against the viewing window. To her amazement, the Warbeast lifted one of its own limbs and placed it against the glass, right where Katie's hand was. The creature's patterns shifted to a warm gold color that Katie thought was very pretty. "Hello," Katie said softly. "What's your name?" The creature tilted its head, listening. Katie had seen her dog Max do the same thing when she talked to him. Maybe this big creature was lonely, just like Max got lonely when Katie was at school. Inside the control room, alarms suddenly started beeping. Elena Rodriguez looked up from her tablet and froze. On the security monitor, she could see a small, human child standing at the viewing window, talking to the Warbeast. "How did she get in here?" Alex asked, rushing to the monitors. "I don't know, but look at this," Elena said, pointing to her readings. The creature's stress levels just dropped to almost 0. Its brain patterns show curiosity instead of aggression. On the screen, they watched Katie continue her one-sided conversation with the massive creature. The little girl seemed completely unafraid, chatting away as if she were talking to a pet. "We need to get her out of there," Alex said, reaching for the security alert. "Wait," Elena said, grabbing his arm. "Look at the creature's behavior. It's not showing any signs of hostility. This is the first non-aggressive response we've seen since it arrived." Through the viewing window, Katie was telling the Warbeast about her favorite things. "I have a dog named Max back home. He's really good at catching balls. Do you like to play games?" The creature's patterns shifted to soft purple and blue swirls. It seemed to be listening carefully to every word Katie said. "You look really tired," Katie observed. "My daddy gets tired too when he works too hard. Maybe you should sit down and rest." To Elena's complete shock, the Warbeast slowly lowered itself back into a sitting position, never taking its eyes off the little girl. "Did that just happen?" Alex whispered. Before Elena could answer, the control room door burst open. Commander Jake Morrison ran in, his face pale with panic. "Where's my daughter?" he demanded. "Security said she's missing from the civilian quarters." Elena pointed to the viewing window. Jake looked through the glass and his mouth fell open. His 8-year-old daughter was having a peaceful conversation with the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. "Katie," Jake called out, but his voice was muffled by the thick walls. Katie turned around and waved at her father. "Hi, Daddy, I found your project. It's really cool." "We have to get her away from there," Jake said, moving toward the door. "No, wait," Elena said firmly. "Jake, your daughter just accomplished something that our best experts couldn't do. She made peaceful contact with the creature." "She's 8 years old?" Jake protested. Exactly, Elena replied. She's not trying to control it or dominate it. She's just being friendly, and look how the creature is responding. On the monitors, they could see the Warbeast's vital signs. Its heart rate was steady and calm. The neural activity patterns showed curiosity and what might even be contentment. For the first time since its capture, the creature looked relaxed. Katie had sat down on the floor, still talking through the glass. Do you have a family? I bet you miss them. I miss my friends back on Earth sometimes. The creature's patterns shifted to a deep blue color that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Elena had never seen that pattern before, but somehow it looked sad to her. Elena, Jake said quietly, what is my daughter doing to that thing? Katie Morrison had been talking to the Warbeast for 20 minutes, and everyone in the control room was amazed. The creature that had terrified the galaxy's greatest experts was sitting peacefully, listening to an 8-year-old girl tell stories about her life on Earth. You know what? Katie said, pressing both hands against the viewing window. You remind me of my friend Tommy's horse, Thunder. He was really big and scary looking, but he was actually super gentle. Are you gentle too? The Warbeast made a soft rumbling sound that Katie had never heard before. It was almost like a cat purring, but much deeper. The creature's glowing patterns shifted to warm yellows and oranges. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was frantically taking notes on her tablet. Jake, this is incredible. Look at these readings. The creature's stress hormones are at the lowest levels we've recorded. Its brain patterns show emotional engagement. Commander Jake Morrison stood frozen, watching his daughter interact with the most dangerous being in known space. Part of him wanted to rush in and pull Katie to safety, but another part of him was fascinated by what he was seeing. It's responding to her differently than it did to the specialists, Elena continued. No aggression, no defensive postures. It's actually showing signs of what we might call affection. Alex Parker monitored the containment systems. Power levels are stable. The creature isn't testing the barriers anymore. It seems focused entirely on the child. Captain Lisa Shin arrived with a security team, but Elena quickly stopped them from entering. Don't interrupt this, she said. We're witnessing something unprecedented. Through the glass, Katie had moved on to telling the creature about her favorite foods. I really like ice cream, especially chocolate and pizza. Do you have favorite foods? You probably eat different stuff than me. The Warbeast tilted its massive head, listening intently. Its 6 eyes remained focused on Katie, but they seemed softer somehow, less threatening than before. You look really sad, Katie observed with the innocent honesty that only children possess. Are you lonely? I get lonely sometimes too, especially when Daddy has to work and I can't see my friends. The creature's patterns changed to deep blue, the same color Elena had noticed the day before. But now, watching Katie's reaction, Elena realized what that color meant. It was sadness. Oh no, Katie said, her voice full of sympathy. You are lonely, aren't you? That's terrible. Nobody should have to be alone. Jake felt his heart break a little as he watched his daughter's genuine compassion for the creature. Even though she was only 8, Katie had always been sensitive to others' feelings, whether they were human, animal, or apparently even alien monsters. I have an idea, Katie announced brightly. Maybe you could be my friend. I don't have any friends on this spaceship, and you don't seem to have any friends either. We could keep each other company. The Warbeast made another soft rumbling sound, this one almost like a sigh. Its patterns shifted to gentle purples and pinks. Elena, Alex whispered, are we seeing what I think we're seeing? Emotional bonding, Elena replied quietly. The creature is forming an attachment to Katie, and she's responding to its emotional cues without even realizing it. Hours passed. Katie continued talking to the creature, telling it about her school, her pets, her favorite movies. She sang songs, made silly faces, and even tried to teach it simple games like patty cake. Against the glass, the Warbeast participated as much as it could through the barrier. It would change its light patterns in response to Katie's songs, move its limbs to mirror her gestures, and even seem to attempt its own version of the games she showed it. This is remarkable, Elena said to Jake. Your daughter has achieved more progress in a few hours than our specialist did in days. She's not trying to control or dominate the creature. She's just being a friend. But why her? Jake asked. What makes Katie special? Maybe it's not about being special, Elena replied thoughtfully. Maybe it's about being innocent. Adults approach unknown situations with fear, suspicion, and the need to establish control. Children approach them with curiosity and openness. Dr. Sarah Kim, the ship's doctor, had joined them to observe. There's something else, she said. Children also lack the aggressive pheromones and stress chemicals that adults produce when they're afraid. The creature might be responding to Katie's genuine calm. As the day continued, Katie began to notice things about the creature that the adults had missed. You're not really scary, she told it. You just act scary because people are mean to you, right? My dog Max does that too when he meets new people. He barks and acts tough, but really he just wants to make sure nobody will hurt him. The creature's response was immediate. Its patterns flashed bright white for a moment, then settled into a steady gold glow. Elena realized that Katie had just figured out something that had taken the scientists days to even consider. She understands, Elena breathed. Katie understands that the creature's aggression is defensive, not predatory. Can I ask you something? Katie said to the Warbeast. Why were you fighting with all those people before they brought you here? Were you looking for something important? The creature's patterns changed rapidly, cycling through blues, purples, and deep reds. Katie watched carefully, as if she could read the meaning in the colors. Oh, she said softly. You were looking for your family, weren't you? That's why you were so angry. You couldn't find them. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Elena, is it possible that this creature was searching for something? That the attacks weren't random? If Katie is right, Elena said slowly, then we've been completely wrong about everything. The creature wasn't attacking colonies for food or territory. It was looking for other members of its species. The implications hit everyone in the room at the same time. If the Warbeast had been searching for family members, then its aggressive behavior made perfect sense. Any parent, human or alien, would fight desperately to find their children. Katie seemed to sense the creature's emotional state. Don't worry, she said gently. We'll help you find them. That's what friends do, right? They help each other. The Warbeast pressed its limb against the glass where Katie's hand was. For a moment, it looked like they were actually touching through the barrier. The creature's patterns showed colors that Elena had never seen before, warm, hopeful colors. Katie, Jake called softly. Can you ask it something for me? Sure, Daddy. What? Ask it if it has children. Ask if that's who it's been looking for. Katie turned back to the creature. My daddy wants to know if you have babies. Are you a mommy or daddy looking for your children? The response was immediate and heartbreaking. The creature's entire body seemed to slump, and its patterns turned the deepest blue anyone had seen. It made a sound that was unmistakably a cry of grief. Yes, Katie said quietly, tears starting in her own eyes. You do have babies, and you can't find them. That's the saddest thing I ever heard. The mood in the research lab changed completely after Katie's discovery. The creature that everyone had called a monster was actually a desperate parent searching for its children. Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked through the night, analyzing data. With this new understanding, look at the attack patterns, Elena explained to Captain Lisa Shun the next morning. The Warbeast only targeted research facilities and mining colonies, places where illegal specimen collection might happen. Katie had returned to spend more time with her new friend. She sat cross-legged on the floor, talking to the creature through the viewing window. The Warbeast had learned to respond to her voice, changing its light patterns to show different emotions. I told my mommy about you, Katie said cheerfully. She says you sound very nice, but she's still worried because you're so big. Don't worry, though, I told her you're gentle. Jake Morrison watched his daughter with mixed feelings. He was proud of her breakthrough, but still nervous about her attachment to such a powerful creature. Elena, what's our next step? We can't. Keep the creature imprisoned forever, especially now that we know the truth. We need to help it find its family, Elena replied. But first, we need to establish better communication. Katie has shown us that peaceful contact is possible, but we need more detailed information. Alex Parker had been working on new communication devices based on Katie's success. I've developed a translation program that might work with the creature's light patterns. If Katie can teach us how to read its emotions, we might be able to understand its language. Over the next few days, Katie became the bridge between human science and alien intelligence. She spent hours with the creature, learning to recognize different color patterns and what they meant. Bright yellow meant happiness. Deep blue meant sadness, red meant anger or fear, and gold meant friendship. He shows purple when he's thinking really hard, Katie explained to the research team. And when he flashes white, it means he's surprised. Oh, and green means he's curious about something. Using Katie's translations, Elena began to piece together the creature's story. The Warbeast, whose name was something like a musical tone that humans couldn't pronounce, had been searching for its 3 offspring for over 2 years. They had been taken by illegal alien traders who sold rare creatures to private collectors. The attacks on the colonies weren't random violence, Elena reported to the Coalition Council. The creature was investigating every place that might be holding captured members of its species. It only became aggressive when it was attacked first. Ambassador Kethver from the Corvan Empire was skeptical. You base this on the interpretations of a human child? The child succeeded where our experts failed, Captain Chun replied firmly. Katie Morrison has established communication with a species we thought was purely hostile. Her methods work. Meanwhile, Katie had made another important discovery. He's not just looking for his babies, she told her father. He's scared that they're hurt or scared too. He feels guilty that he couldn't protect them. This revelation hit Jake hard. As a parent himself, he could understand the creature's desperation. Elena, we have to help find those children. I agree, Elena said. But tracking illegal alien traders across the galaxy won't be easy. We'll need the full resources of the Coalition. The breakthrough came when Katie asked the creature to describe the traders who had taken its family. Using the light patterns and Katie's interpretations, they learned that the kidnappers had distinctive ship markings and had been seen near the Vega system. I know those markings, Alex said when Elena showed him the description. That's the Crimson Syndicate. They're notorious for dealing in exotic creatures. Captain Chun immediately contacted Coalition intelligence. Within hours, they had located a Crimson Syndicate base on a hidden moon in the Vega system. Surveillance confirmed the presence of 3 young warbeasts being held in cages. We're mounting a rescue mission, Lisa announced. Jake, I want you to lead the strike team. What about our friend here? Jake asked, gesturing toward the containment chamber where Katie was teaching the creature simple human words. We take him with us, Elena said. If we're going to reunite this family, the parent should be there. The rescue mission launched 3 days later. The Warbeast, now wearing a special collar that allowed it to move freely while staying in communication. With the ship accompanied the strike team. Katie had insisted on making a friendship bracelet for the creature, which it wore proudly around one of its limbs. Bring his babies home safe, Katie told her father before the mission departed, and tell them their daddy loves them very much. The raid on the Crimson Syndicate base was swift and decisive. When the young warbeasts saw their parent approaching, they made joyful sounds that carried across the entire facility. The reunion was emotional even for the hardened Coalition soldiers, as the family embraced with their distinctive light patterns flashing in synchronized celebration. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, Jake reported back to the ship. These creatures have such strong family bonds. No wonder the parent was desperate to find them. The return journey was completely different from the original capture mission. Instead of a dangerous prisoner, the ship now carried honored guests. The adult warbeast, no longer stressed and angry, proved to be remarkably intelligent and peaceful. It helped repair ship systems with its natural electromagnetic abilities and even played games with the crew, Katie spent every day with the Warbeast family, teaching the young ones human words and learning their musical language in return. She became the first human ambassador to the Warbeast species. "They want to help us," Katie translated during a meeting with the coalition leaders. "They know where other bad people are keeping captured creatures. They want to stop the stealing and hurting." Dr. Elena Rodriguez documented everything for scientific history. Katie Morrison has not only prevented a war between species, opened the door to an entirely new kind of alliance, one based on mutual respect instead of fear. The story spread across the galaxy. The human child who had said "sit" to a warbeast became a symbol of peaceful cooperation. Other species began to reconsider their approaches to first contact, learning from Katie's example of friendship over force. Years later, when Katie was older, she would become the head of the coalition's new Department of Peaceful Contact. But she never forgot the lesson she learned that day. Sometimes the most complex problems have the simplest solutions. And sometimes all it takes to make a friend is to be kind and really listen. The Warbeast family settled on a protected planet where they could live safely. They remained close allies of humanity, helping to rescue other captured creatures and serving as proof that understanding is always better than conquest. And whenever young diplomats asked Katie for advice about dealing with alien species, she would smile and say, "Just remember to see the person, not the scary parts. Everyone wants to be understood, even the really big ones." The galaxy was a little bit safer because a child had seen past the monster to find a heartbroken parent. Was the day everyone learned that humans' greatest weapon wasn't technology or strength, but the simple courage to care about others.